Cool, all right. So we will bring this Board of Education regular meeting and public hearing regarding the fiscal year 25 budget agenda to order at 6:07 PM with a roll call, please.
Yes. Dr. Michael Thomas,
Present.
Laura Dowden,
Present.
David Shepherd,
Present.
Rachel Merrickwin,
Present.
Denise Jones, yes, Mike Wallmiller,
Yes.
Colleen Clemzak.
Present.
All are present.
Great, if we could stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. So if anyone attending on the live stream is wondering why we started late, shockingly, there were trains in Evergreen Park keeping us from getting a quorum, and we cannot start a meeting without a quorum. So if I could have, actually, I need to make an adjustment on our agenda that is at everyone's seat. I need to add a policy manual update under board reports. So policy manual, not, I'm springing you guys on a policy meeting report, I'm not gonna do that to you guys. So, I'm not, I will do that. So that will be, item, yes, E, we'll be adding a policy manual update report. So with that adjustment, may I have a, first motion to approve the agenda with that adjustment?
First.
And a second, please?
Second.
And a roll call, please.
Yes. Mike Wallmiller,
Yay.
Dr. Michael Thomas,
Yay.
Denise Jones, yes, Rachel Merrickwin,
Yes.
David Shepherd,
Yes.
Laura Dowden,
Yes.
Colleen Clemzak.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you so much. Okay, so I will pass the baton to Dr. Warland.
Great. Well, thank you. Our first report this evening is obviously a very important report, and that comes from our Reyes Landa Weir fundraising for our Kindness Day. So I'd like to welcome them up at this time. Thank you so much for coming this evening.
Hi there.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, well, my name is Ana Reyes, my husband.
Jeff Landwehr.
We are the parents of Alan Reyes in chocolate and music. That is the two favorite things our child love. So that's why it's the reason we started 6 years ago. Because we want to, kids, they want to play instruments and feel comfortable and happy. And parents don't have other opportunity to bring the instruments, so those kids can play. Unfortunately, 6 years ago, the instrument was like a 20, 30 years old. So we are grateful to have a not new, but really decent,
Gently used.
gently used.
Yes.
My husband is gonna tell the rest.
Oh, nice job. Yeah, basically, it's funny, Anna, she said 6 years, and for me, I thought it was 5, and then I realized, no, this is 6 years now. In those 6 years, we've really been able to, with the community support and support of the board and all the teachers especially and students, we've really, I think in total, I want to say it's well over $20,000 that we've raised.
Just in chocolates. Just in the chocolates. So I wanna be clarified, just in the chocolates. That is different, the t-shirts, we have help on the t-shirts too. So really grateful.
And it's, for us, I have to tell you, when I think back at the 6 years, the ability for us to help out and find a cause that Alan loves so very dearly and pour, his birth month into it each and every year, it helped our grieving process, and it helped really honor our son in a way that, we're very proud, frankly. I was watching the news this morning, and they had a special on there where they were honoring a couple of music teachers where they, you know, had them to Nashville, and I thought, wouldn't that be wonderful if Evergreen Park music program and the teachers were honored in that way as well. But one other thing I do want to mention, this is probably going to be our last year doing this directly. We're still going to be involved, but, you know, Anna's working with some other folks now to kind of pass the
Foundation?
baton, and
Foundation. And the
Yes,
foundation
yes,
is gonna
yes.
be in charge in the next, but we're still gonna be involved, of course, this part of, it's a child, it's kinda live, but we wanna, the foundation make more decisions, maybe they have another ideas, and we was thinking in not just help just with the instruments, maybe we are gonna extend it to the music, the
Course,
course. So that is another thing we wanna do in the future, that is working with the foundation too, so we are really grateful. Can you do the invitation, please?
yeah, on September 26th, Alan's birthday, at Unidad here in Evergreen Park, right on 95th. 10% of all the sales basically are gonna go to this cause, basically. And in particular, you know, for all of the D124 staff and teachers, Anna and I are gonna donate the desserts as well, so please, if you have an opportunity to go to Unidad on Thursday evening, September 26th, please do so. It'll help, you know, again, raise more money for a really great cause. And lastly, I just want to say I'm very proud of Alan's class. You know, I always said, you know, early on that I expected really great things out of those kids, and I think they're not going to let me down. And you know, we had an opportunity to go to University of Illinois and watch the band play a couple of weeks ago, and I got to tell you, you know, every year these kids are getting better and better and better, and so you know, we can all support them, and for us again, thank you for this opportunity to honor Alan and help out, and you know, a
And
lot of good
it's-
things came out of it.
And
so.
it's not just the high school kids, the Allen's class, it's just all the little kids, they don't know our child.
Yeah.
They are like, kind of stay and be nice, and that's a really nice thing came out.
Yes,
So,
That's,
we are
Well said.
grateful
Yeah.
for you as well, absolutely.
we still have chocolate, so.
Thank
So we're gonna be in the school outside, so if you have a chance, they buy 100% of the profit, everything is go to the band, so thank you, everybody, for
Thank you.
support, and thank you so much.
thank you.
Oh,
Appreciate it.
wonderful. Thank you so much. I think there was mention too that they're opening at 3 next Thursday.
Oh, yes, they're gonna open
So if
3
there are
o'clock.
staff that would like to go participate at Unidad,
3 o'clock.
pretty great. Yes, so there you go. Thank you,
Thank you so much.
absolutely, for being here and doing what you do. Really appreciate that, so thank you so much. Which leads us,
Yes, leads us right to the foundation. So
and then we
Ms.
can find out how many kindness t-shirts we've sold this year for Kindness
Exactly.
Day. So I was gonna ask, but I know that Sam has that information. I knew that, so.
Good evening. Kindness shirts are ordered, and it is an absolute honor every year to participate in this. To work with Anna and her family, to honor Alan this way it's amazing to see the community come together and honor him year after year and celebrate him for his birthday. We sold 391 shirts this year, which is amazing. We have a handful of extras on order, but we're gonna fill all these orders first before we start handing those out. We went to the high school to have them designed. So they were designed by a classmate of his, which we felt was a really great way to honor his 18th birthday. We're excited to wear them at Unidad next week.
Yeah, there you go.
Back to school bash was a success. We had the best weather we could have possibly asked for. The kids all had a lot of fun. We want to thank again our 12 amazing sponsors who helped us make this all happen. And I wanted to shout out a couple of vendors, people that donate time and energy and a lot of their talent to this. Anna and her paleta cart that she will bring all over town and sell ice cream anywhere you need it. That was a donation from her and her family. The Salazar family, Caesar sits on the board with us. He donates his time for the DJ, and his wife Sandy makes all of those tacos. They do not turn in a bill. 200 tacos.
200
yes.
tacos, right?
It's
Wasn't
amazing.
that
Yeah.
what was in the report? Oh my gosh.
And another one of our families, Sarah Wren from Southwest, brought her lemonade cart, which is out for rent as well. So if
That
you
was
guys, and
awesome.
it was really, it was a
Very
fun
popular.
addition. Everyone seemed to really love it. So we thank everyone for coming out. We can't wait to do it again next year. Oh, one more, the high school band, and they sent their leadership and NHS students also. And we can't do this without those students that come in and help us pull it all together. Keep an eye on things when we're all running around crazy, so. We are almost finished filling teacher wish lists. We just have a handful of teachers that are still working on them. We spent about $6,000 and filled 25 teacher wish lists, which is a really fun project. Playing Santa in August and filling their classrooms with fun new activities for the students. It's a great way to have the foundation impact directly into a classroom. Football Mania is moving right along. You can still purchase Football Mania tickets. We know the concept of this is a little difficult. Basically, it's a $20 donation to the foundation, and you're winning. You have another 16 weeks of potential winnings, so we're excited to keep going with that. We've mentioned this before, but upcoming in October, every Wednesday night, if you go to Culver's on Kedzie,
Sign me up.
every school is gonna have a week to go and participate, and then they're in competition with each other for a free ice cream party, so who does not love ice cream? And our food drives are getting kicked off here in October with Southeast, so we're moving right along. Grinch Breakfast, which we talked about in our meeting today, is December 7th. Oh my gosh. We're gonna keep with the format of breakfast downstairs and some fun activities upstairs, some raffles we're working on, games for the kids, and keep everybody having fun and celebrating Christmas, because it's gonna be here before we all know it, before any of us are ready for it, I'm sure.
No, right?
Any questions? I covered it all.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So next up, I would like to honor our National Custodian Workers Recognition Day, which is on October 2nd. So as we are all aware, our custodian staff, as they say, are quite the heroes, the quiet heroes of our schools. They are the first to arrive each day and the last to leave. They clean up the messes no one dares to touch, and they befriend everyone who passes by. This evening, we honor the work of our custodian staff, demonstrating a sign of our appreciation and a thank you, because that can only go so far, as they are really dedicated employees to our district. I would also like to thank Jim Hennessy directly, our Director of Buildings and Grounds, for his fearless leadership with this group of individuals. So thank you so much, Jim, for everything you do. I, call him and he just drops everything in a drop of a hat, and there's so many different requests, including water main breaks that happened,
Midday
for
on a
example,
Wednesday.
just today. So we appreciate everything you do, and we do have our certificates as always, and we would like to at least have Jim come up and receive his. Thank you so much. Yeah, we can give him the rest.
I think it sounds like a photo op. Smile, okay.
Picture time.
I passed like 2 trucks just driving around.
Yeah.
Thank you for all that you do.
No, thank you.
Make sure to distribute all of this
I
to
will.
all of our. Thanks.
Okay.
I'm gonna look at you. There you
Much
go,
taller.
right? Okay. Okay.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much,
Good
Joe.
job.
You too, yes. We gave you more work to do.
It's all right.
Now you gotta distribute them to everybody else.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And of course, there's cupcakes.
Oh, of course. We need an excuse, we don't need an excuse, we just like cupcakes. Love it. Okay.
Next up, we have Miss Amanda Tatar to talk about a new program that we're implementing this year called Watchdogs.
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
I do want to preface this by pointing out the pins that are in front of you. So, oh, it's already on, there we go. I know our district does a great job of fostering a sense of belonging, so DELT, the District Equity Leadership Team, specifically Dr. Vanek's branch, or strand, came up with I Belong in Evergreen as just a message to deliver that each staff, each student belongs in Evergreen, and to show up each day as their authentic self. So we just wanted to do a little visual reminder that could be placed on a lanyard or a backpack or a purse or whatever to remind ourselves that we all belong in Evergreen. There was actually a little bit of effort put into the artwork of the pin because each star represents a school. And the quadrant, if you notice, is an open quadrant, meaning we welcome people into our community, and then we all represent the EP family. So,
Nice.
there we go.
You're so clever.
That was
Very
great.
cool. I like it.
But a way we foster a sense of belonging to our parents, students, and staff is through different initiatives that we do. And one of the initiatives that specifically is targeting our dads and fostering a sense of belonging for them is through our program Watchdogs. And this is a program that's gonna be piloted this year at Central Middle School. The DOG stands for Dads of Great Students. And so there's two main goals of this program, and it's to provide positive male influence and male role models to create those relationships at the school, but also to increase security in the building, to reduce bullying. So there's a lot of positives that come from this program. We're currently recruiting, me and the deans, John and Jaimin, recruiting dads, but it's not limited to dads, it could also be uncles and grandpas to participate and volunteer in this program. And so we have our informational meeting next Tuesday at 8 a.m. And at the informational meeting, we'll be explaining the program to the dads and what they'll be doing when they come in and volunteer, even if it's just for a day out of the year, for them to come in and just understand what's going on. So anybody that signed up, I've emailed and reached out to, but we're hoping for even more to come to the informational meeting. But yeah, so the dads are gonna be able to volunteer, and when they come into the building, they'll have this shirt that's gonna act as their uniform to be able for, staff and students to identify them as watchdogs. And they'll get a schedule at the beginning of the day, so they know where to go and what to do, what hallway to supervise, or what lunch hour to be in, or what classroom to help a teacher out. So
That's awesome.
just a way to involve dads.
How many volunteers do you
So far, we have 5.
have? Okay.
Hey,
I'm proud of those
great.
5.
That's great.
That is really awesome.
Yeah, and I'm hoping through like social media and word getting out that it'll keep growing.
Yeah, absolutely.
They were on the podcast, the EP podcast this
Yes.
week, so
On
and
Monday.
the explanation was really, really good. I was like, that's what the community needs to hear, so, yeah, it was good.
All right, so
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much.
Next Tuesday, alright.
Great. Next up on our agenda, we have
Okay.
Kathleen Kasperitz and Megan Frankel presenting on our elementary clubs.
Nice. There.
Hello. So we're excited to speak to you tonight about our elementary clubs. So the goal of our clubs is to provide enrichment opportunities for K-5 students both before and after school. In our process, we started last year with some reorganization. So we made the club process a little bit more formal. We have set like fall and spring sessions. And we really focused on organizing both our internal clubs, which are run by D124 staff, and then bringing in some additional external clubs to provide additional opportunities that our teachers aren't able to provide. So through this process, we've been able to provide more opportunities to market them better, to let parents know kind of what their options are in the beginning, so they know which ones their students might want to sign up for. So we just want to share a little bit more about some of those clubs.
So we just want to also share that these clubs are so valuable to our students and the families that also support them. Through these clubs, students are able to explore a passion, they're able to learn new skills, connect to staff in a less formal setting, practice social skills, and just have a lot of fun. Teachers who host the clubs love them because they're connected to their own passions and they're sharing those passions with students. Families love them because they're a really affordable option to expose their students or their children to new skills that they can develop.
So we took some time to reflect kind of on last year, and it was actually incredible when we sat down and looked at the 4 elementary schools and counted the number of students who participated in the clubs we offered, and so we wanted to share that data with you. So last year at the 4 elementary schools together, we were able to offer 45 clubs throughout the year. So we had 25 internal clubs. And when we say that, it could be like a session in the fall or in the spring. We did have some that doubled and did both a fall and a spring. We had several clubs that like reached the enrollment minimum, so some were able to have 2 staff sponsors, so they could have up to 40 students in their club. And then we also offered 2 district-wide clubs, so we had Spanish club and a yoga club that were open to all students in the district. So it was a great way to kind of allow students to get to know each other a little bit more before they're going to Central. And then we had 18 clubs that were offered through external organizations. We partnered with Worry Taekwondo. We worked with a company called After School Enrichment Solutions. Like this year, we're partnering with Young Rembrandts to offer some additional clubs.
And then we have, over the course of the 4 schools, or elementary schools, we have 702 students that participated last year alone. So I feel like the number keeps increasing as our clubs keep increasing as well. Although we love and appreciate all of our clubs and our teachers for all the clubs that they host, we wanted to highlight a few just to give you a taste of some of the benefits these clubs have on our students. So the first club I want to talk about is our Fly Club, which stands for First Love You. It was created when our social worker, Carrie Dickman, saw a need, particularly within our 4th grade students, the girls specifically. So she works with the students weekly and provides girls with lessons and discussions on belonging, growth mindset, self-motivation, managing stress, building and sustaining relationships, self-esteem, and empathy. We really, really believe that the work that she does through this club impacts our students not only academically, as well as socially, emotionally, and also prepares them to go to middle school at Central.
Another picture up there is from Podcast Club. So one of our elementary schools had a podcast club whose aim was to provide insights into PBIS from the student's perspective. So their leaders taught them how to like write a script, and then they recorded clips that were edited into full episodes that were released every week. The students focused on information about PBIS and how it positively impacts their school environment. It was nice because it gave that student perspective on PBIS and like exciting events happening in the school, but it also kind of fostered their creativity. You could get to see their personalities a little bit with kind of how they would go back and forth with each other on the podcast. And then the podcast was shared within the classes in that school and also shared through the newsletter to families as well.
Forgot my second one. The second one I wanted to highlight was our drama club. It is hosted by Siobhan Brewer and Louise Baldwin, so I want to give them credit. For a semester, our 4th and 5th grade students work after school with these teachers. They learn about stage terminology, lighting, public speaking, and acting, not to mention the confidence that it kind of instills in them as they work towards a goal of having their final production. Last year, the students put on Frozen Junior. This year, they'll be putting on Finding Nemo. Last year was my first year in the district, and I can say that watching this production, I was blown away by what these teachers were able to accomplish in the short amount of time that they do, and not to mention the talent that our students have that we never would have been aware of had we not had these clubs. So.
And then the other one I want to highlight was actually at several of the elementary schools hosted a Lego club, and this was a very popular club. Often it exceeded the enrollment and they would have to do lotteries. But this provided opportunities for students to do some like STEM engineering challenges. Like some of the clubs had a challenge every week, like to build a marble maze, and so they'd have the time to design it and then test it at the end, or build a bridge that could hold up a ball. And so it brought in some of that engineering, and it also provided some like collaborative work if you have to plan and create something together, but then also some independent like free creation building time. The picture up there is, they had a contest to see like the tallest freestanding tower. And this girl worked on it for weeks and she finally made the highest amount and like was so excited to tell her teacher the next day. So it was great to see kind of that energy and excitement around after school enrichment clubs. I'm gonna go to the next one. Thank you.
So these are our clubs that are planned so far for the 2024-2025 school year. I won't read them to you, but just to give you an example of the wide range of clubs that our teachers are bringing to our students every year. It's great to see.
And we wanna say a huge thank you, both to the board and Dr. Woodland. What?
We're all
Swifties
laughing,
Club.
Swifties.
We were just talking about that at Foundation and glitter. There was glitter involved.
It's great.
Yes, please.
Exploring their passions has been one of the most
Yes.
enjoyable things.
Yeah.
You can come if you want.
Thanks. But we wanna say a huge thank you because obviously, you know, having teachers run these clubs, there is a cost to it. And, you know, we wanna say thank you for supporting that and supporting these opportunities for our students.
Thank you.
Questions about clubs?
So exciting.
These are fantastic.
I know,
My
right?
daughter did like the yoga club last year and they did like extra sessions and it was super cool.
That's
So
awesome.
you guys are doing awesome.
And I think we said, but a huge shout out to any teacher doing it after a long school day. It takes a lot of dedication to, you know, stay after and do that.
In the
And
morning
We're
sometimes.
getting up super early.
yes, getting up super early and our students have a lot of amazing energy. So, you know, it's reining it in and putting it on that focus, but they do an amazing job and they come back again, like we asked for volunteers and got a ton of people to do it again. So thank you for helping support that.
Thank you.
Yay. That's awesome. So many great opportunities for our students. That is such good news. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Double dot, oh, yeah.
So
Alright.
next on the agenda, we're gonna hear from John Johnson regarding central clubs and athletics.
Okay, so we heard
Hi,
from
John.
elementaries, now it's time for the middle school.
How's everyone doing?
Great.
So looking over clubs and athletics, the way it's split up, Dean Smith takes over the activities in the clubs, and then I'm in charge of athletics, but I'm gonna talk about both tonight. So looking at the clubs, we have student leadership, National Junior Honor Society, yearbook, choir, band. A lot of these end up falling into both categories too, because they do run it as a club, but then also it is a part of our SWIC conference, so there are competitions that go with it. To highlight one of the new things we're starting this year is esports. That's gonna be, again, one of those things that ends up being kind of in both category. To whereas it will be a club before the official season comes in. We're piloting through SWIC this year, its first like pilot season to see how that would run and how that goes. So that's definitely something we're excited about and take a pool of kids then and see how they do. Basically the top performers of it will then be a part of the athletic part of the team and then compete against each other for different events. So I know Evergreen Park High School is big on the esports and everything like that, so we're definitely trying to branch into that and do more with that. We have the Central Newspaper, who they just met today, and then art club, chess club, fitness club, a lot of these things that the students can get into and engage in, and it's kind of branched out, so everyone has something that hopefully they find interesting and something they can do. I know with Dean Smith and myself kind of being first year within this position and doing things too, we do talk a lot about expanding these clubs and activities and doing different things like that too going forwards. To highlight though, we have the Creative Arts Club. So this is something new that we're going to offer to the students. So there's music, songwriting, singing, acoustic instruments. The art aspect is drawing, coloring, clay, crafts, graphic design. I always find like comic book stuff super cool. I'm a nerd at heart, so anytime you can do that, the kids get really into it too, and you gotta give them the freedom to do what they like to do and what they like to read about. And it's interesting to see their sides of things because they always connect it back to like their own life somehow, and it looks really cool. Writing, so you have your stories, your poems, your skits. Video dedicated to YouTube channel and Instagram page showcasing what they made, and that's cool because I think that is something you could even transition into like a real life profession and what goes on. There's a lot of people that work throughout social media, throughout digital marketing and all these different things, so that is a good way to kind of create an avenue for them to go into that. And then just miscellaneous things like bracelet making, magic tricks, comedy, juggling. You can really open this up to whatever you want to do with it. That's the Creative Arts Club, so really kind of letting them kind of open up the book and do what they want to do with it.
It's true. My daughter loves it. She's
Awesome.
I love
Great,
it.
Rachel.
That's awesome.
The next club is a multicultural club, so it's a club that was created to promote diversity, inclusion, and equity. Students are painting a mural currently that we displayed in the front lobby area of CMS, so that's a work in progress right now. 3 more panels will be placed in front of the media center as well, so it's something that is interesting for the students to do, but also a way that they could buy into the school community as a whole, because what they're doing is going to be in the school and hopefully there for a long time, and something they can come back and always look back to, and it will travel along with CMS as we evolve. Last year, the students were working on creating images for the mural and translating hall signs into 5 home languages for students in our building. Again, kind of making sure that everyone feels welcome, going off of the pins that you received today. Like, everyone is welcome in Evergreen Park and everyone is capable of partaking within the building. And then this year, the club will create a cookbook, translated word of the day announcement, and so many other great ideas. So kind of really branching out and making it a part of your day that there are multiple cultures, languages, different things going on within the building, and making sure all of those students feel like they are a part of the community as well, not just the individuals.
That's awesome.
Sounds like a high school.
That is next level. It really is. It is.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That sounds great.
And then to roll into sports, so again, this is now stepping to my side, what I'm doing with it. Currently, we have fall sports. There's boys softball, girls softball, and cross country. There's 10 boys currently on the roster. There's 13 girls on the roster, and then there's 48 cross country athletes. So, and honestly, I was a track coach prior to this. That's a good number. 48 for cross country for a middle school is a great number. So helping out EP definitely is one thing we're leaning on. But just to highlight some pictures of the softball team, the boys play at Southwest and the girls play at Evergreen Park Community High School facility. They let us come over there and use it. So it's a really nice facility. They've had the scoreboard on for the last couple games too. It's a really great atmosphere for them to kind of get in there. And honestly, for me to go watch the game, it's great because they have really nice seating. So, but yeah, so these are just some pictures of the softball teams. And then cross country, they had their first meet. They do have 2 more left on the roster, but like I said, there's 48 athletes right now, and that's something that was surprising to me, that how many people are willing to run multiple miles. I was a sprint guy, so they're running multiple
In a
miles.
row?
Kind of crazy to me, yeah. But going forward this year, I know we talked about getting them new uniforms too, and starting to kind of branch out and step into the next generation of CMS athletes and different things like that, to where the previous uniforms are kind of, I think, ready to be moved on from, and that's the coaches have communicated it, so we're gonna make sure that those are taken care of this year. And then for the winter sports, it kind of gets broken up into 2 separate winter parts. The first part is you have boys volleyball and girls basketball. And this one, they're gonna play everyone in the SWIC conference once. And then you have girls volleyball and boys basketball. So they split that up just so there's not any overlapping athletes. It makes the scheduling a little bit easier. They play everyone in SWIC once, but then our side of the conference, they'll play again. So that the second half actually goes and runs a little bit longer. That's gonna run into, I believe, the end of February. They always have a really good turnout. I know I put out the interest forms for them on the last Central Connections, and there's a lot of interest already for things going on in January and February. So we're looking forward to having those seasons start up and kind of stirring up more interest for those things. And then you have your spring sports. You have boys and girls track, so that's ran as one team. And you have boys soccer and girls soccer. So those end up getting divided. They play at UKIC. The boys in track, obviously, they have the track painted on the field, but they go to different high schools and they participate. I know when I was coaching last year, they did the conference meet always at Oak Lawn, and that's where I was at. So I always was like kind of helping out, participating through there. So it's nice to be on this side of it now and help them out and increase kind of the coach's knowledge too, because it's just because, like I said, I've done it. So definitely there's professional developments and different things I want to have them go to and participate in and kind of get their knowledge built up, so then the athletes can really kind of compete at a high level. And then the last thing are just my personal goals for the team. So like I said, we have the creation of the esports team. We're gonna increase fundraising for each program. I know in the past, they've done maybe a little bit here or there, but we're starting off our first fundraiser for the Fall Sports Friday. And we're gonna kind of use it as a test trial. We're using a company called SnapRaise, where it's pretty easy, that the athletes will put in phone numbers, emails into this app or website they can use. Then that will get blasted out to whoever they send it to. And then the people they sent it to have the opportunity to donate money through that website. And it's a really good way. And I was shocked by it. I've done it with my track programs before. And we've raised a lot of money just having it in that format with a different company. So now switching to this one, I think it could go even better for the programs themselves and get them a little more money to kind of be open with what they're doing in team meals, different things like that. Recreate channels of purchasing equipment, we've kind of already worked on that, but have more paperwork going right now for them to like formally submit things and make sure everything's being tracked and accounted for when they're doing it. Creation of an individual budget for each program, creating a cycle for new uniforms for each program right now, getting them on a cycle to make sure that they are up to date frequently and that they are accounted for and know that like when the last time it was purchased. Increased participation for boys softball is one of my personal goals, just because the current number they sit at, depending on who participates that day, they might have to forfeit a game. They would still play it, but they technically get the loss still if you have less than eight athletes on it. So getting that number up there to where they do not have to worry about that. And then the last thing is really build more buy-in and capacity for the coaches, so that we have a couple coaches who are pretty consistent. And I know Sarah Murphy's been there for, I believe, 19 years doing volleyball, so she's been there for a long
Yeah.
time. But getting all of the other coaches kind of to buy into it and kind of build up their knowledge of it to where they want to stay and keep doing it, and it's something that then they can be proud of going forwards, and the community can too as well. So really buying the buy-in for coaches.
I made a note, I remember I received an email from a family about soccer uniforms. So
Mhm.
I was like, oh, wait, who was
Yeah.
that parent? Let me see, because, yeah, I know that there was a need.
Yes, so yeah,
that's really
uniforms are
great.
definitely on top of my list right now, figuring
It
out.
was last
those
year,
things.
I can't remember the child, they could have graduated, but, you know, there was a need, so I'm glad to hear that, all of
Yeah,
those things.
Eric and I have been talking, so we've been doing
Eric came
Tag
back and
team
he was
between it.
so happy there was gonna be a rotation that he could put in the budget, so thank you for that,
I'll get
John.
that set up. No problem.
Tracking the spending, did you hear that? Like, yay! Yeah, that's awesome.
That's all I got for.
Thank you so
So,
much.
Thank you so much, John, that was
Throw out-
fabulous.
Throw out an idea, when it comes to the different clubs and combining them together.
Mhm.
For example, you have the cookbook. So you got
Yeah.
the children that's gonna do the cookbook there, gonna prepare a meal or whatever it may be. You have the newspaper crew who can cover, you have the visual arts who can
Smart.
film
That'd be
the
good.
cooking of it, and then we could post it maybe on the,
What a great
Super
website.
smart, I
Yeah,
love
you
it.
no, that'd be really good, kind of combine them
Yeah.
all into one major
and
project.
then at least, 10 months out of the year, we'll get a recipe that we can cook at home.
Yeah.
And all the clubs will be working
Always
together.
That's what
good,
we're looking
right?
for.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, no, I mean, I
that.
think that's a really good idea to kind of make sure that they are all working together, and then it kind of could put a timeline and they could build on, practice on that building of, a timeline to make sure they're sticking to it and deadlines. That's a good idea.
Love that.
Thank you
Nice
so
job,
much.
thank you.
Thank you,
Cool.
John.
Thank you.
Appreciate your efforts in this.
Thank you.
Great.
Gee.
Okay, so next on my agenda, we have updates regarding communication. So communications is a consistent and ongoing goal of the district. So D124 and all schools began using SMORE for email newsletters for the 24-25 school year. And that was based on direct response from parents and having cohesive and
They
consistent
look so good.
Thank you, I really like
They
them too.
look so good.
You could say thank you to my
I-
admin team
they
for going along with me. So district emails are sent at the beginning of each week, and then principals send their developing content and share that at the end of the week. So we're really looking to complement communication from the district level that funnels into the building level. So we have cohesive communication styles, and also that the platform is, again, very similar in nature. This then allows me at the district level to really track and utilize data to see what our parent community is looking at and responding to. This platform is both district aligned to our desktop and mobile friendly, and we can also track both of that, which makes me happy, and I will show the updated numbers that we have thus far. So if you look on the next slide, here's a sample of our consistent approach. It makes me, again, very happy that at the end of each email it says powered by D124, because we are one district working towards one common goal, and that is our kids. Each building is still allowed to add their own flair and communicate based on their own individual needs. So if you go to the next slide, there's the ability to then measure analytics. And so I'm gonna speak to Again, solidifying a common platform that for the district allows us to monitor views and trends to make sure we are reaching our audience, which is obviously very important. So this is a district newsletter that was sent to all staff and all families. It had 2,904 views. And then I can tell that 92% of our audience is actually accessing the newsletter from their mobile device, which obviously in today's world makes sense to me. I even look at it on my phone. And the average time spent reading is approximately 4 minutes. So that gives me some good information to go off of. We also, of course, use social media to highlight different aspects of our communication, and we've really done a lot. I received this feedback my very first year, and I love branding. I think everyone knows, I love swag and branding and doing all the things aligned to making our story and sharing our story, which is again part of our strategic plan. So compared to August of '23, just on some more data for you, we have additional 60 page followers on Facebook. We're up 76 page followers on Instagram and 62 page followers on Twitters. I'm so sorry, I will always call it Twitter. And reach is growing and staying consistent on all channels, with staff and student focused posts obviously are getting the most interactions because we love to see kids. So this is just an example of the information that I can see in terms of the number of posts that we reach. So the top ones are at the top. So our community was very, very excited when we started to highlight our staff hires this past summer and spring, which I cannot take credit for. That was Dr. Carlson, Patricia's idea on my maternity leave. So give them all the credit, and they made it come to fruition. And for example, when we hired our deans, thank you, Jaimin and Mr. Jensen, those were viewed significantly, and we had 2,800 approximately reaches of that post, which is pretty significant in my mind. So it helps me monitor what's really sticking with the community in terms of our social media sharing. And then last but certainly not least, and my most exciting, is that Be Evergreen in Action is obviously something that continues to be widely used by the D124 staff and community members. I can't be more proud of our teachers who continue to share their story, because I cannot do this independently. And it is just a continuous aspect of creating the positive nature of our buildings and making sure that we see what's happening in our classroom, because if our teachers or our principals didn't share and post, we get so much of our content from them. And so we're able to then use that, reshare it on social media, and it really makes all the difference in the world. Nice. So that is my communication update. Awesome. Any questions?
I'd like to issue a challenge to the district and the administrators on communications, because I love the new look. We can track it, that's great. As a parent, I know one of the things that I struggle with sometimes is you guys all have a very technical vernacular that you use because you're all well-educated, disciplined professionals. And we don't always get that. It's like talking no, I'm serious. And
It's true.
it
Yes.
helps to have things really clearly spelled out, not just like PBIS, or the acronym, but how can I use that at home? Or what's a great way to partner with you guys in that? Because we say a lot, but it's difficult sometimes to really understand what's being said when you don't walk the walk, you don't live in the schools. And so that's my challenge. Let's work hard to keep this stuff going, but also making a point to have the communications be accessible to non-educators.
Brilliant.
And really being mindful again of who our audience is and how is this digestible to a parent. As you are aware too, I'm also starting a parent advisory committee, and communication is going to be top on our list. And so it's not to me just about giving information, but feedback loops. How do we have these cycles of communication to take information back in and make sure that it is digestible for all audiences? Great point. Thank you.
That was great. So true. Thanks.
Right, next up we have Dr. Carlson, and she's doing a combination of presentations with Rebecca Terrell tonight and Patricia Roberts, so
Doing it
it's
all.
a lovely traveling show, I will call that.
are.
So we are going to kind of talk a little bit about our back to school with our teachers. We had 3 days of institute, which I feel like each and every one of those was very valuable. So on day 1, we started with a soft start. So we had staff meetings. All teachers started in their own buildings, which I think we got a lot of feedback from. Last year we did that for the first time and it was really appreciated, where everybody kind of got to spend that time in their buildings with their principal on that first day, having whether it was staff meetings or team building activities, whatever it was that they had within their buildings. On day 1, they also were allowed time in their classrooms where they were able to prepare for students. So that was on our day 1. Day 2, I feel like is where we had all of the moving parts. We really feel that while it looks kind of confusing often, it's important to get teachers the professional development and the training that is really just right for them and for what meets their needs. So on this day, Northwest and Southeast both had their Math for All, which I talked about a little bit last month. So that was their first kickoff training day for our grades 3 to 5, where they're discussing their math curriculum and making it accessible for all of their students. Our Northeast and Southwest folks then were learning about their SEL pilot that they're doing this year that really aligns with what's going on at Central Middle School with the Capturing Kids' Hearts. And then CMS had very building specific trainings. They have an entire new admin team, which there were a lot of new systems and new trainings that were taking place. So they were learning about things like their new discipline systems, their PBIS, SEL, safety, all of those building specific things were going on for them on that day. In the afternoon, we had M-Class, which is a new benchmark that we are using for our K-1 classes this year. It is really targeting reading. I would say if we have a goal for our K-1-2, we need to teach kids to read. Reading by 3rd grade is so important, research tells us. And so this benchmark assessment, which they'll take 3 times throughout the year, is really targeted in just what are the foundational skills that you need to learn to read. This is taking the place of our STAR early literacy, which we found we were not getting the data that we needed to be able to provide really rich interventions, both in the classroom and in our tier process. So they were getting M-Class training. And then Otis is another platform that we are using. You know that we're rolling out our common assessments. We've been working really hard on those. And Otis is really the housing of all of our common assessments and common assessment data. So our students will take those common assessments in that platform. All of those assessments are then lined with standards that we will get all of this rich data from that will be able to be actionable within our classrooms. So they were receiving that training.
We also had paraprofessional training that was conducted by our BCBA. So that an overview of what that entailed. Grace kind of went over behavior management, so proactive and reactive strategies, prompting hierarchy, prompt fading, data collection, like what types of data you could be collecting, and accuracy, and then also went over kind of like support, what types of support paras may need. So like who to go to, looking at, your lead teacher if you're in specials, like, and a student's having difficulty, talk to the special teacher, talk to your lead teacher and whatnot. We also did CPI training, so this was the second of 2 days. We offered it the week before. CPI is our crisis prevention, through the Crisis Prevention Institute, so it's online modules that staff complete. So every school has a crisis team. So everybody completes online modules that focuses on trauma-informed, de-escalation, and then there's also the physical management piece. So this day was the physical management piece, so kind of reviewing all the online modules, going over the physical management and all the holds, and then going over the district policies and procedures. And then last but not least, we had a whole day dedicated to our pre-K and EC teachers and paraprofessionals. So we have a very, very new pre-K EC staff. So teachers and paraprofessionals. So Allie Wilson really went over everything, the logistics of pre-K, like the program goals, and just what it looks like, the day, screenings, trainings, IEP meetings, the logistics of that, schedules, physical environment, curriculum, classroom supports, classroom collaboration. Obviously, we know our little ones, as well as everyone else. We collaborate a lot with our related service providers, and whatnot. So that was a pretty detailed day. And then kind of what's next for the rest of the year. Obviously, with such a new staff and not as much time, like what their professional development calendar will look like for the year, what they feel like they need, what we know we need to provide them and whatnot. So it was a very busy day.
It was a busy day, and we just appreciate everybody looking at their schedule and knowing where they were at all of the different times. So that was day 2, where we really felt we put a lot of meat. Day 3, I feel like, was kind of our fun day. So this is where we then bring everyone together. We had our keynote speaker, Damon West, who is the writer of The Coffee Bean. We had a fabulous coffee bar that was there. Thank you, Sonia. And all of the staff then joined us for that discussion. I think that Jenna talked about the coffee bean a little bit, or his message, but he really speaks to bringing positivity to your environment. And while the story of the coffee bean, very briefly, you are, if you are in hot water or you are in your difficult situation, you can respond one of 3 ways. You can become hardened like an egg, you can become soft like a carrot, or you can take that and make positive change like a coffee bean, turning that hot water into something that is better, and better in my opinion, because I really love coffee. So he really shared that message with our staff, and that message of positivity. So, and you can see there that little Tess is there, and she made herself an appearance and was all the rage, and you did not even know she was in the room. She was silent. Yes, I did get to hold her. But she was captivated by Damon West, as all of us were. So that was really our morning time, and then our afternoon time we did some special ed articulation.
We did some special ed articulation meetings, so that is something last year that we started to make sure that we included in our institute days, and really that's at each building, kind of diving in deeper with our gen ed teachers and our special ed teachers for specific students that may need more support or going over behavior.
Sorry, shifting, moving.
All the way to Callie in a minute, that may need time to kind of plan for that more than a typical student, so.
And that was a direct response from a DIRT meeting, and we are now able to implement it, which has gone very well.
Absolutely. So those were our 3 institute days, and then we welcomed students day 4, so.
Jam-packed.
It was time well spent, absolutely. So that was the first thing I had. Thank you, Becky. Next I was going to talk about our mentoring program. So on, I think it was August 14th, if I'm remembering back correctly, we welcomed 30 new mentees, which is 30 new certified staff members. There they all are, their smiling faces. That was just before our bus tour, which is a huge hit. We go around to all of the buildings, and our principals are there to greet and give swag, which is just so fun. So we were getting ready to get on the buses. We also had then 24 mentors that joined us on that day. We have a few mentors that are thankfully willing to have 2 mentees that they work with, particularly if we have, say, 2 math teachers, they're working with the same mentor. That kind of helps a lot. So, go on to the next slide, Anne. So our mentoring program, you can kind of read this is what our main overarching goal is, I guess. We're really looking to support new teachers. We know that mentoring programs make a significant difference in teacher retention and even often in recruitment. They're wondering what sort of supports are available to them upon joining a staff. And so we like to highlight our mentoring program. So it includes things like obviously answering questions, procedures, district practices, all of those things, but we also really try to embed our high quality tier 1 instruction with our mentoring program as well, because that's really important to us. And we believe that it's a big part of our teaching and learning that takes place within our district. So we want to not only support our teachers in the day-to-day, but also to support them to grow as educators within D124. So our program goals: provide new teachers with the tools and support necessary to be successful in the classroom, and help us to retain quality new teachers as members of the EP family by making sure they feel supported and valued. So within our program, there are a few components that we do throughout the school year. So the first and foremost is our new teacher onboarding. So on that day, we have all of our mentors and mentees together in the morning. We take our bus tour and then we split. And our mentees get a little bit from Patricia and Eric and the business office and all of those things. Well, I take the mentors and do some training with the mentors about what the expectations are for the school year. And then we bring them back together and they have time just one-on-one with one another. They also do quarterly collaboration with their building principal. So our mentors help to set up these meetings between the mentor, mentee, and the building principal to discuss any needs that are arising within that quarter. We do mentoring hot topic meetings. So we have one in the fall and one in the spring where we bring all of them back together. And it's kind of a good opportunity to kind of discuss what are some things that you're noticing, what can we help you with. We kind of do that a little bit as like a round table. We're here to answer questions, whatever it is that you need for what your greatest challenges are thus far in the school year. We have mentor observations. So our mentors observe our mentees and our mentees observe our mentors. So that is one of the important pieces. Our mentees do a co-observation with our instructional coaches. This is something newer that we've added. As I said, I believe that our high quality tier 1 framework is really important. That's really what we expect instruction to look like, whether you're 2nd grade or 7th grade social studies. We still expect the same high quality instruction in all of those settings, and it includes a common list of things. So our coaches observe with our mentors and go around, I believe it's half day, they go around and they observe within the building, and they use that high quality framework kind of as a reference check to discuss after they have observed, were you able to notice this? Did you see how she did that? And so on. They go through a coaching cycle as well with our coaches, which is also important. So that includes like a pre-meeting, they observe, and they do a post-meeting for feedback. And then our mentees do a half-day observation in another school. So I think it's good for them to get out. If I'm a 3rd grade teacher at Southeast, to go to a 3rd grade classroom maybe at Northwest and observe there. So you can kind of see how things are done throughout the district. At the middle school, that looks more like a different content area or a different grade level that we try to match them up with. And then they also have an optional collaboration day with the mentor and mentee, where they can get together. We've had some that have maybe met together before parent-teacher conferences where they will work to prepare for that, or maybe in the spring where they reflect on the year, but they have that option to meet together. So we share this quote with our mentors. The heart of mentoring is getting the most out of life. Isn't how much you keep for yourself, but how much you pour into others. And we really believe that our mentors pour a lot into our mentees, and we appreciate the work that they do. All right, that's a lot. So that was grow your own, or that was mentoring. So now I have grow your own. So this is the next one. I'll do the first two, and then if you want to do the next two. Grow your own is a program that me and Patricia and I have been working a lot on. Where Jenna loves a hashtag, so we're hashtag growing evergreen. So this program is really designed to help us to recruit and train teachers that we have with us within our community and within our school district. We know how difficult teachers are to find and quality teachers are to keep, and we want to do what we can to help with that. We have this teacher vacancy grant, which we had last year and we had this year, and really they're at the state level working to what are you going to do within your district to help to create grow your own programs. It's difficult at a state level to, everybody's complaining about the teacher shortage, so I feel that they've all said, here's some money, make it happen. So we're gonna do our best to make it happen. So our program goals are to create and maintain a pipeline of high quality teachers in difficult to fill positions, support current paraprofessionals in pursuing careers in teaching and rewarding their hard work. We really want to diversify our staff in an effort to close the teaching student diversity gap. And finally, strengthen district connections with area universities to support solid career paths for graduates. So we really have three branches of this program, three buckets that we're really looking at. So our first bucket is our pre-service teacher program. This is one that I'm excited about and feel pretty passionately about. So we've calling this, Kyle of course helped us with some of the branding, plant your seed, your educational seed in Evergreen Park. And we're looking to help with some paid student teaching and some mentor opportunities. Really in a nutshell, what I feel this is, we know that teachers who student teach with you, stay with you. Oftentimes, if you ask teachers who are looking for jobs where they wanna be, they really wanna be places where they either went to school themselves or where they have student taught. It's really about where they have developed those connections and feel comfortable in those districts. So we really want to get these folks to us early before they have committed to student teaching somewhere else. So this program really aims to identify pre-service teachers who are 1 year out from student teaching. And what we want to do is we want to bring them to us before they are there. We want to connect them to the EP family so that they will then turn around, do their observation hours with us. We want to connect them to a mentor within our district who will, be a resource person throughout their last year prior to student teaching. We can invite them to our professional development that we are offering within the district. We will open up our district to allow them for their observation hours. We want to form that relationship with them before anyone else does. That's really what our goal is. So we would look to accept 5 pre-service teachers into this that would serve as a cohort for us for our initial year. So they would receive support from D124 teachers who would serve as mentors, as well as be eligible for a potential paid student teaching opportunity within the district. Paid student teaching is really kind of the direction that things are going. There's a lot of talk even at the state level about making that a requirement. When you are asking someone to become a teacher, you're asking them to give up their job for a whole semester of time after, being in school, and now you're saying, okay, well now it's really hard for you to work and I'm gonna need you to do this for us. And that's a lot and it's a big ask. So we want to be able to help support them with this. So these teachers would go through an application process with us. Upon approval, we would really be targeting our diverse candidates, so we would be targeting this towards colleges and universities that we know have a diverse candidate pool. We would also be looking for future positions that we know that we're going to need. If we have an upcoming retirement in, say, a middle school math, we want to be able to target students who are graduating or who are upcoming graduates with a middle school math endorsement, because we know that that's what we're gonna be looking for. So there are a lot of aspects that would go into this selection process. But we know that those candidates, when you call to the universities and ask them, how many people do you have graduating with a math endorsement, they might say 4 and 3 of them already have jobs. There's just not, there's not many out there. So we wanna get them early and bring them in.
This is, have you already reached out to like some local universities about this?
Yes.
Okay.
So we've had some conversations and they're pretty interested, so.
And we're creating a comprehensive list now.
Yeah,
So
cause I
we
feel like
do-
the
we're doing our
sooner
research
we
now.
get this
In
to
front of them.
those juniors who say, oh, I could like do my hours here and get money, like the more they're gonna be, and then, like you said, I feel like the sooner we get those kids in our buildings and they see the staff, they meet the people, that's where you sort of say, hey,
So
come
we're
here
not
forever.
we're not currently paying them, but do you wanna speak to
No.
Northeast?
So we, say that again, speak to which one?
Northeast, the service hours that they're doing?
Yes, so we have partnered at Northeast, this is kind of cool. Governor State offers lab schools where you do your observation hours, they ask you to teach a lesson. So we have 13 pre-service teachers that are coming to us from Governor State who are doing their I think it's PE, they call it something else, they have a jargon name that they call it at Governor's, I'm not really sure. But so they are coming to us one morning a week for the next 7 weeks. And over that course of the time, they'll be in the classrooms, they're partnering with one of our teachers. So they're there to assist within the classroom, and then they have to teach, I think it's a 20-minute movement break lesson that they do over the course of their time. So we really believe strongly in the more of these connections that we can make at the university level, the more that we can impact and make recruitment a lot easier. So part of this pre-service program, these students would get, it says stipend, I think we're gonna need to call it a scholarship because they can't actually be our employees. But a $500 scholarship for each of their semesters that they are partnered with us, so that would be a total of $1,000 over the course of that year. We would assign them to a district mentor to provide them support and guidance. We would include them in all of our professional development opportunities and things that we have within the district. They would have site approval for pre-service observation hours, and then they would be eligible for paid student teaching opportunity. Right now we have at $10,000 that we would like to give them for that semester of work that they would be doing with the district. Of course, with that comes a commitment to then be hired on. Yes, a commitment to us for 3 years following their graduation in a potential high need position that we would have open. So that is the goal for the pre-service.
Yeah, I feel like some of those things, I mean, too, like the professional development stuff, I mean, like, from the university standpoint, I think those are things that'll be very helpful. For those universities,
It's so
like
critical.
pushing their students to want to come here
Correct.
rather than somewhere else, because it's like, you're not just getting the stipend, but you're also getting things that are gonna make you better.
A better teacher.
And from the university standpoint, I feel like that just makes them look better.
Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely.
Absolutely. So that's the pre-service part.
Okay, and so now let's talk about who absolutely matters, and that's our internal employees. So we also have a growing evergreen program for our paraprofessionals who are looking to get their professional educator license. And just like the pre-service program, they would go through a process, the application process, you know, to recommendations. There'll be an interview with our Grow Your Own committee that's being formed. And of course, it comes with the commitment too. They'd have to be willing, after going through the programs, to commit to a 5-year following the teaching program that they're in. And we are pushing, like I said, behind the scenes to partner with as many of the universities that we can to support the programs that are doing the Pell programs, you know, like St. Xavier, Governor State, DePaul, there's a lot of other ones. We've already started down the list. Today I had a conversation with one of the universities, so we're just gonna keep going until we can figure out which ones we really wanna, you know, massage and grow with and partner with, so more to come on those. And so that's for our paraprofessionals. And then the second one, the third bucket, is for our teachers. And these are our teachers who are seeking endorsements, additional endorsements to, you know, broaden and branch out. We want to support them in all the ways we can to do that. And in the same manner, they'll be given a stipend, and this will be in addition, it's like a higher reimbursement rate that they're getting beyond the
They
commitment that's in the.
currently get $150 per credit hour, so this would double that.
And it would double that, and so this is what they would get in this program. Same things, we'd be looking for those same qualifications, they go through the interview process, and I think we're doing up to how many for that program?
I'm
I think
not
fi-
remembering
I wanna
off the
say
top of my
5,
head.
but don't quote me
And the goal of this is really to those high need areas.
Yeah.
So it's not
Special
any
education.
endorsement that you're going back. We identify
So if someone wanna get
annually.
like a
Yeah.
math certification or
Yes.
something like that.
Special
Right.
education is another one.
Annually, we identify what our high needs are, as those often change. So we identify that annually, so it would need to be in one of those specific areas that they would then commit to.
Good point. So we're real excited about it. Any questions?
So this has been like my, I have to give the two like young, lovely ladies an applause because it's been like my brainchild, I feel like, for 3 years. I'm like, we need to grow your own, we need to grow your own, and they've just assembled it for us. And so
They
there
grew it.
are
Yeah, this is good.
implications with our collective bargaining unit, so we're currently meeting with our union. There's no action that the board needs to take, but obviously it's important for you to be aware, and we will be bringing an MOU to your attention that would allow us to provide this funding to the pre-service teachers and then also our current employees as well.
And we are, currently, obviously, we have the grant, which is wonderful because it does fund all of this and that's the purpose of the grant specifically. But we have worked really closely with Eric to make sure that it is something that we can hopefully sustain beyond the grant. We might, have to adjust numbers a little bit if time were come, but we're hoping to be able to sustain it as well.
I think we got that TIF fund, right?
So, all right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Wow.
Everybody come in.
We're ready for the budget.
As
It
a
is
parent
not,
of,
but it is budgeted for, and let me tell you, Eric has this like intense calculation of how we're gonna, what it looks like.
So we had 5 Freedom of Information requests last month, 1 from Smart Procure, 4 from SouthCookNews.com, all have been fulfilled. Statement of expenditures, nothing crazy really happened last month. Finalized some of our purchases to get ready for the school year and with the beginning of it, and then salaries and benefits, and then final payments for the construction at Northeast. Statement of revenues is a little different story. We received just about all of our tax revenue that we expected from last year's levy. And I wanted to point out, you might notice, so we received, I believe, $14.6 million in revenue so far this year. And last year, we were only at $1.8 million in revenue at this time. So I just wanted to make sure to point out the importance of having a fund balance reserve, because you never know like when they're gonna actually pay you, so it's important just in case you need the money for something, an emergency. Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
vastly different, oh my gosh, okay.
And as a result, the fund balance has gone up a little bit, thank you. I expect this to go down as a result of us receiving all our tax revenues from last year's levy.
We'll have to
Until,
be whittling away at that,
Yeah.
month by month, obviously.
so now the final presentation of the budget. Some major factors affecting the budget. Revenue-wise, the property tax relief grant has a 2-year abatement window that is officially over. The district is to start receiving TIF revenues annually as a result of intergovernmental agreement with the village. The American Rescue Plan grant opportunities are officially over with as of September. Expense-wise, the average percent salary increase of approximately 4%. Health insurance premiums will increase at approximately 8%. Out-of-district tuition expenses are projected to increase by roughly $500,000 due to an expected rise in student costs. And capital project budgeted for a total of $1.5 million in FY25. Revenues for all funds, the only main differences from the tentative budget to today's presentation is we got the final numbers for CPPRT, and those were lower than expected, so I made that adjustment. And then we had our transportation claim come in, and since the expenditures were a little higher, the reimbursement was also a little bit higher, so then I made that adjustment as well. For a total projected budget of $36,343,000, or $36,577,000. Expenditures, really not too much different in expenditures from last month. And I have a total budgeted expenditures of $36,343,000. Education fund, we are projecting revenues of $29,622,000 and expenditures of $28,515,000 for a total budgeted surplus of $886,000. And then operations and maintenance fund, projecting a revenue of $2.3 million and $2.45 million in expenditures for a $149,000 deficit. And then you might notice that all of our sources of revenues for the operations and maintenance fund is from local sources, to reiterate the importance of our local revenue. the breakdown of the budget by fund. One other thing that happened is I wanted to have a positive ending balance in the tort fund. So I moved $200,000 in evidence-based funding money from the ed fund to the tort fund. So you'll notice that went from 1,000 to 201,000. And then as a result of the transportation claim increase, we're budgeting a surplus now of estimated $234,000. And then part of state law, you have to present the fund balances history, and these are the historical fund balances for the district from 2016 to 2024.
I have recently asked Eric, I'm gonna put him in that spot, but I know he can answer this question. Since Eric started with me, right, thanks Eric, but he's the best, we all know that. How much has revenue increased annually approximately?
I think it was like $8.5 to $9 million a year.
That's awesome.
It is capturing every single cent and dollar that you can possibly capture. That includes taxpayer dollars, grants, everything you can possibly think of, and reimbursements.
Yes.
Yes, and it is so critically important, so it is a team effort too. It is absolutely a team effort on everyone's part.
Any questions about the budget? Thank you. And then we have the resolution for the trustee of schools.
Appointing you.
Yes, so you wanna speak briefly to the concept behind this and how this has changed, and I will speak to why we're appointing you.
Yeah, so
Michael was very curious about this before the meeting, so I'm like, I know we will get the full explanation. So please, yes, we're very curious, thank you.
as we all know, there's Worth Township, which we use because we're part of that. And so all the schools in the area, like Oak Lawn, Ridge, all those Payless schools, we all use Worth. And they do investments for us, and they get cheaper purchasing for us and cost and things like that. And so there is a recent law change that the trustee of schools is no longer like in charge and needs a board. So as a result, we are going, some schools went last month, some schools went this month to present. But essentially there's gonna be one board meeting every quarter, and it's gonna be all the districts that go to Worth Township, and then the other townships in the area obviously have their schools going as well. And then one representative from each school district will be going to represent.
So think of it similarly to like the Arrow process, like an exec
Yeah.
board, governing board, that's how Worth is shifting. And so most districts are sending their CSBO if they have one. Eric's clearly the most qualified. So I am recommending that tonight you approve the resolution for Eric to sit on that board.
Got it. It sounds like a very lofty position, so that's what Michael was like, ooh, like, does he get a crown or does he get a, like, what does that mean? But that makes
I have no
sense.
idea.
I know, right?
Maybe a
Like,
t-shirt?
you haven't, I know, something.
Maybe a t-shirt.
That makes sense though, right? So that centralization, like it really does. When I tell people that the township holds our money, Eric doesn't sit back there with a checkbook, like it doesn't work that way. So then you have a voice.
Mhm.
That's great.
So that'll be nice.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, that's
I'm
awesome.
looking forward to it.
Okay.
If voted.
Okay.
You want me to stand up for this part too, or?
No, the last part is regarding our bond resolution. So clearly you had a very detailed special board meeting last week where we went over our recommendations. There were 3 items on the agenda to which we are recommending for approval of our resolutions tonight, and they are item F, G, and H on the agenda. I have not received any questions regarding this, and we had a very detailed conversation regarding our next steps with our facilities upgrades that we intend to take action on with the result of that funding. Any questions? Right, thank you so much, Eric.
Thank you, Eric. Next, we will open the floor for a public hearing regarding the fiscal year 25 budget. Sonia, do we have any? Nothing regarding the budget, thank you. No other comments, budget, closing the floor. Okay, thank you very much. Next then, we are on for public comments. Per Board of Education Policy 2230, a few reminders specifically about the logistics of the public comment portion of every meeting, including this evening. As is posted on our agenda publicly for every meeting, to respect all our stakeholders, our commenters, our board, our public, we adhere very closely to the 3-minute limit for comments for everyone. We will set a timer and we expect everyone to respect their 3 minutes. In addition, we do not respond to public comments at board meetings, but we do hear them. We respect, we listen to, and we take into account all community member concerns. And if there is a specific question that comes up that we can respond to after the meeting, we will do so in a timely manner. So yeah. Okay.
She had to leave,
Oh, okay.
so she wanted you to leave us.
Oh, Scott had mentioned, and I love this, I'm so excited about this. So we had a staff member that wants to advocate for an improved playground at Southwest School. So, but she had a previous engagement. So I look forward to responding to this, Sonia, and thank you very much. So we will follow up.
Yes, absolutely.
Awesome, okay. I suppose, since she's not here, plant trees. I'm just remembering of when we were in COVID and we had to read these ourselves. For shade, environmental, and some playground equipment and things like that. And she left notes and diagrams. Like, amazing, amazing, okay, awesome. So we will definitely follow up on that, that's awesome. All right, so we are moving on to board reports. Ms. Denise Jones for Arrow Governing Board Meeting Report, please.
Yes, so the meeting started off really well, where Leggett Architects had some professional photos of Arrow. Of course, they consisted of the quiet area, places for the students to reset, the gym, the scenery rooms, cafeteria, movement spaces, the courtyard, as well as the playground. They were all really, really nice.
Nice.
Then I understood why they were so nice, because those photos were presented to IASB.
Mm-hmm.
Arrow and Leggett Architect came in second place, winning a merit award for outstanding project.
Nice.
I thought that was really nice.
That's exciting.
The photos will be presented during the joint annual conference.
Of course.
So we'll see Leggett and Arrow on the
Nice.
screen.
All being represented.
I love it.
Presented, and we're able to go and meet them and see the work that they did at Arrow. I thought that was really nice and
Yes.
very exciting. We kind of figured they would be
Oh,
in the running for the award, but they won second, so that was also great.
And we also have access to those photos.
Yes.
So if we want to post any of them on our website, I'm happy to make sure that that happens. I'm assuming that's a yes.
Yeah, we should.
Yeah, definitely. It's a lot to be proud of.
There are also several employment openings at Arrow. They will be having a hiring event at the end of the month and monthly thereafter. So just want to highlight that they need workers. So
Maybe Patricia Roberts.
I was thinking that, but they can't have
But they
you.
can't
I'm
have
sorry.
her.
No, they can listen to the meeting if they want, but they can't have you, no.
Also, Arrow went out to bid for the installation of a surveillance camera system for their vehicles.
Nice, yep.
The governing board approved Angel Track system to install the surveillance camera system in the cooperative's 36 vehicles that they're gonna be used to transport the students.
Did they say when those would be installed and operational?
No, they didn't say when they would be up and installed. We just approved the budget yesterday.
Oh, gosh,
For it.
okay.
Monday. So I'm guessing ASAP.
Yeah.
Because it was on the top of the list. So,
Can we follow up with Bill on that?
That's awesome.
And that's it.
Thank you.
Really good meeting.
And it's a busy board week.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
busy board.
Thank you for doing what you're doing, cause that's a lot.
Just add something.
Yes.
Just wanted to share an Arrow story real quick, cause their staff is amazing. My son recently was at school. We got a phone call that he had hurt himself. But, I mean, they were Johnny on spot telling us he hurt himself. He was running in the gym, he stepped on a Lego, whatever it was, hurt his foot. They was like, maybe come get him, take him to urgent care. I'm like, no, he's not going to urgent care. But he gets home, right, he's limping for a little bit while he's at home. An hour later, he was okay, jumping in. But he received so much attention at Arrow, so much attention. When he went to school the very next day, and he was getting out, and he stepped out the car, he immediately started limping on his foot. Because it's just how much love and care they gave to him.
Nice.
It was like, he's okay, get inside the school.
You're fine. Shake it off. Oh, that's
But,
awesome.
yeah, it was really good.
I love that. You know, we like we do love a little attention sometimes, don't we?
Of course.
That's awesome. Thank you. Next up is board representation for the district review team. So we have not yet had a district review team meeting. So the district review team will meet for the first time this year on Monday, the 30th, right here. Ms. Julie O'Connor, who is the union VP co-chair, along with Cindy Migliari, sent out all the information to us, and I keep looking at Denise because she and I are both on DIRT. And she sent that all out at the end of August, along with the calendar. Meetings once a month, mostly once a month. And also we have reps from all 5 buildings there and admin. Because actually really in addition to improved communications and problem solving, we have done some really good work. I mean, like, good things happen. So rebooting and refreshing the PBIS and trainings, new roles in student support services, and the reference that you had just this evening that came out of DORT. So I really do appreciate the work of the participants, and I'm excited to get back to it. It's a really positive experience. So folks need to come with the air of communication and also problem solving, but everyone really does, and it's been a really great way to continue to communicate with all the stakeholders, so that's the report. Cool. Okay, now I gotta look, okay. Michael, I was like, I'm not next, right? Michael's next, okay, so, next up is a facilities update with Mr. Michael Allmiller.
So the big update is probably just reporting out on the special meeting last week, where there were our financial advisor and our architect firm reported out on the spacing options and solutions that kind of came as a product of the community engagement that we engaged in last year. And so the architects did their homework and they came to us with a lot of really big plans. And they were talking about, really you can divide it up into 2 different categories, and I'm gonna encourage everybody to go onto our website and check it out because we've posted it for everyone to review. There's basically option 1, which is try and update and fix what we have. And then there's option 2, which is build, right? And then for the financial portion of it, our financial advisor walked through the how of doing that. And then also like the shorter term portion of that, which is bonding for our shorter term facilities updates, specifically Southwest HVAC, Southeast HVAC, and help me out on the last 2 because I'm spacing on them.
Northeast windows and doors.
Northeast windows and doors.
And northwest abatement.
Northwest.
And tile replacement are the
Oh, the
4
asbestos
very
replacement.
big specific projects that we intend to complete. There is still room in our budget that we might explore outdoor learning options for students.
Such as playgrounds.
Such as playgrounds, potentially.
To answer the question.
Where are you, right? Couldn't be more timely.
But as a final part of this update, I thought it'd be a good time for the board to have a short, open discussion about like what we've thought about it, right? So we've had a week to kind of sit on this and look at the options. And I'm gonna kick it off, right? So I looked at both option one and then the subvariants and option two and the subvariants. And really, option one kind of boils down to something that our former board secretary said in her last closed session with us ever, and that was, this body has a tendency to trip over dimes to save nickels.
Yeah, it's true.
And I feel like option one and all the subvariants are exactly that. How can we try and save money while also still spending money? It's Band-Aid solutions on things that we know don't work. The bright side I'll say about option one and option two is they all involve removing the mobiles. We've all been really focused on
Yes, absolutely.
But I'm gonna say that the option that I like the best is 2B. And I know that that one seems like it's the most expensive. However, it modernizes the district in a way that we haven't done in a very long time. Central Middle School is almost 100 years old. All of our elementary schools are at least a half century old. None of those buildings are gonna get in better condition. None of those buildings are gonna get newer, and the work is never gonna get cheaper. And for 20% more on those other two options, so 2B is the 20% more, there's an early learning center that comes part of this. And that would be one of the first times that this district would be proactive. That gives us an opportunity to address space in a way that we've not had an opportunity to do. It frees up sections at all of our elementary schools because we'd be moving pre-K and K to this new center. And really, when you think about it, best practice, this is where districts are going. They are building early learning centers. They are devoting time and resources to getting students in as early as possible and identifying ways to service those students quickly and efficiently, right? To go back and build a fifth grade addition onto Central Middle School, to me, is going backwards. Schools aren't doing junior highs. They're decommissioning junior highs. That's a 5, 6, 7, 8 model, right? I don't wanna move backwards, and I don't wanna pass a referendum to do something we've already done, right? To try and do the junior high thing. So I'm in favor of 2B. I think it's the best way to address these issues. And it gives us the opportunity to be proactive about space, which we, as a landlocked community, don't really have a lot of opportunities to do.
We really don't.
Second.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I feel like, I mean, Central has historically been addition on addition on addition on addition, to the point where like the building doesn't make sense. You know, you've added so many chunks to this thing, you know, you've created a monster. I mean, it is, so it's like, I mean, if you like to go through those hallways and the split floors, like,
It's a mess.
adding on to that is like, I mean, I don't feel like that's gonna help anyone. I mean, not to speak for our deans, but I mean, like, trying to monitor a facility that's built like that is like a dumpster fire. So I feel like, I mean, again, like, let's build, let's make something new, let's make something modern. Let's give students and teachers the facilities that will allow them to adequately do their job day in and day out, and give them a space that they want to come to. You know, so I just feel like, I mean, that for me is a great thing, as Michael said, the early learning. I mean, if you think about like our kids in our community that, you know, when we get old, they're gonna be ones taking care of us. You know, I want those kids able to have skills in terms of like, you know, numeracy and literacy, behavior management, you know, character development, like as early as they can get those skills. You know, so I mean, the sooner we can get our hands on those students, like when I was a child, cause we were on welfare, we were part of like the Head Start program. So I think that like that early access to education is like crazy in terms of like the difference it can make long term.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So I would agree.
So to clarify, 2B, so all of this conversation last week was about improving, all of the options were improving the elementary schools. All of them had that, so there were 6 different options presented. Some of them were tweaking the middle school and some of them were building a new middle school. But 2B specifically, cause that's what Denise was asking too, so specifically that was a new middle school and the new early learning center. And then those pre-K and K classrooms that are at the different elementary schools now would then become our music, our art, and additional student space. So that was kind of the conversation, and absolutely go back and listen to the sorry, I know you guys have been here for almost 2 hours already, but it was a really great meeting a week ago, and it really did lay out with all of the different the floor plans and availabilities on the screen of the different options that they walked us through. So none of this is tomorrow. The bonding will happen and that will give us improvements over the next 3 years. But it is a conversation that we've been trying to needing to have, trying to have. No one's gonna argue that we don't need space. No one's gonna argue that our kids deserve better than music and art on a cart. Like, if we had one more, if we had an influx of new students in any one quadrant, in any one grade level, we'd be in big trouble. Not in a bad way, but we just don't have the space. We don't have flexibility or room for expansion in our buildings.
We do, but the alternative would be raising class size.
Well, right, and that's.
And I highly would, I would not recommend that.
No, we've worked really hard to get where we are and to be able to support our students and our staff with reasonable class sizes. And so to, stuff more
And our
kids in a room or,
students.
yeah, I mean, that's the whole point.
And no one's going to argue the removal of the.
No one's gonna argue the removal of, yes. And the other thing that came out at the last meeting was the items that we're choosing to work on with the money that we will be bonding for this year are at the 4 elementary schools, and none of them would be impacted by any of the choices that we'd be making. So we're not saving a dime, or we're not tripping over a dime to save nickels. We don't wanna, I had to get that right. Kim will be proud of me, right? But that was one thing that was really important, was that we not spend money and then knock something down in a couple of years. That would be wasteful and irresponsible, and that would not be something that we would want to do. So I thought that that was really important too, is these are 2 different things that we really talked about last week. So the bond that we're voting on this evening is a $6 million bond, and that would address those 4 projects that we talked about. And then continuing the conversation for 2B. And also hearing from our community. I mean, that's I've heard from some of our community since the meeting last week, and most of it's, actually all of it so far that I've heard has been really positive, so.
Just wanna
Yes, please.
bring attention to, if you remember from the surveys that they did with the student body, 2B would address that,
Yeah.
which is the most important thing, because we're starting from scratch. We can design a central that can be for the students. They complained about the dreariness and the darkness of the school, and 100 years, we have to get advanced. I mean, we can build STEM labs and,
Basement with no windows.
music, art labs, we can come up to today's time. They had the little covies that they had where the students were relaxing, and they thought those were wonderful. So make an environment where they wanna come and learn. And so that cuts down half of your problems,
Yeah.
half of our problems, because nothing comes to us because they're getting along socially and, they're working together to just be better, responsible, young adults.
Yes.
Because that's where they're going in life.
Yeah. That more supportive environment.
Yes, most.
Absolutely.
So true.
Okay.
And better parking is something.
And better
Oh,
parking.
better parking issue, that is true.
Better parking would be great.
Better parking.
Yes, it is.
Super important to the
We wanna
community.
have the community in, and we need to be able to have them park somewhere, right? Other comments?
2B was my top choice as well, for a couple of reasons. I didn't like the idea of the 5th graders, and I kind of expressed this last time, the 5th graders walking through the halls with the 6th and 7th and 8th graders, though I understand the skippers and everything like that, I understand how it could be a benefit as well. But pre-K building, with having those teachers be able to collaborate with each other,
So great.
that where right now they can't, I'm sure they could do it, but having them all in the same building, and then having a facility that's specifically tailored for those young kids. That was my choice as well to be.
We heard at a DIRT meeting, Julie O'Connor is a kindergarten teacher, and having our students, knowing our students before they make it into kindergarten, like having that foundation at the very beginning, it makes, they can hit the ground running and just, but we have to know our students. And an early learning and pre-K building would help us to learn, to know our students before they hit the kindergarten first, yeah.
There's clear research aligned to early intervention, and we all know that, and we know where that lies in terms of the future of an education for a child. And ultimately, at the end of the day, I've always said Evergreen Park's a beautiful world. We have kids for 9 years. And if we can capitalize on their education and their well-being at that young age, you're only going to see growth over time. And then the flagship school at the end.
Absolutely. So this is the first conversation, but it will not be the last. There will be many, many, many of us, and also with our community, and finding out where we need to go and how we're gonna proceed, but don't let me say that if there's more to be saying, so please, is there more to say?
I'll just try. I had dental work, so.
I love you, Rachel.
You know,
But she's
I'm
still
just-
here, okay? She's still
I
here.
can't feel my face, that's why
You look
I'm
fine.
worried that it's gonna like.
No, you look
go
fine.
down, so I'm like, it's sitting there. But I am so glad to hear how everyone felt, because I felt that I was like, oh, I'm picking the wrong option here, because I was like, tear the middle school
Yeah.
down, we need a new middle school.
Yeah.
I thought everyone was gonna wanna put Band-Aids on things, you know, and I would like, that's a money pit. That's gonna cost so much money when we're talking about the HVAC systems and everything at the middle school. That was the big talk. They're all different and, you know,
Yeah.
and I was thinking like, how much money are we gonna put into this? And then to hear that everyone was for the pre-K building, I mean, I think that would be spectacular. I was like, oh, well, at least if we just get a new
Maybe.
building
Could
for
we-
the
could we
middle school,
maybe?
but I'm all for 2B.
Well, and Dr. Woodland and
And I didn't
Eric
drool everywhere.
have, you did great. Dr. Woodland and Eric they've done the grant work
Yeah.
for the early like they
Yeah.
know
Yeah.
that
I mean, that would
we
be
are
fabulous for the
prepared,
students.
like we know, they did all that work
And
already.
for the teachers, I mean, that would be
Yeah.
wonderful for the community.
Absolutely.
So yes, I'm all in.
I don't know which one I want, but I wanna hear, and you guys are awesome. And I'm leaning to twos, like I
Yeah,
was kinda
yeah.
like,
I
well,
was, yeah.
twos, I don't know where yet. But I just know if we relieve some pressure
Mhm.
at all four elementaries with new space, either at both, I mean,
And get rid
a
of those
pre-K
trailers.
and
Yeah, get rid of the trailers.
Get rid of the
They're
trailers.
They're an
Somebody called them a
eyesore.
trailer the other day to me, and I'm like,
Or a
okay.
trailer.
Trailers have wheels.
You know, they're not mobile.
They're
The mobiles are not
boxcars.
mobile.
They're
They are
They're
just
stuck.
seated
They're not-
there.
you can't move
I
them.
kid y'all not, my daughter will be 27
And-
in a couple of days,
and
and
she
she was in the mobile.
She was in the mobile. My 26-year-old, he
Yeah,
was in the
good
mobile.
time to go.
Yes, yes.
Gracious.
At Southwest School, yes, he was.
Michael,
there more?
I think you also speak really
please.
well to the finance aspect of this and why it's so important to think long-term. So I'm gonna put you on the spot, but I know you can handle it. So can you speak to like the why you think from a finance perspective that that's a good option?
Well, I sort of touched on the idea that it's, some of the big cost pressures on it are labor and materials. Materials are not gonna go down, and the only way labor would go down would be a recession, and that would not be the time to come to the taxpayer for a referendum. The big plus to this community is the resource that these buildings would represent. This community has such affinity for its schools. It's one of the big selling points in EP. They talk about the strong schools. And there's no better way to reinforce that than with modern resources that underscore that value of the schools. They have this great reputation, and then we be delivering these great public resources. And when you look at Evergreen Park and how much we value our village hall and our library and our recreation center and the beautiful parks that we have, this is a community that deeply values public resources, and that's what these schools would be.
Absolutely. Great.
Just as well as I think that's, Mike has a great point, because generationally, that is what this community is. For example, my daughter went to school here, she moved away for a while, but she's back now, she bought a house here. She's pregnant with my second grandchild now. So eventually, her children are gonna go through the same school system that she went through, and generationally, we keep investing in the school systems. We're just gonna keep more and more families coming here, and we're just gonna keep it going.
Nice. first of many.
First of many conversations.
Anything
I
more?
also think it's important too, Colleen,
Please.
That the community recognizes we want to, not only do we have to, but we want to speak about this in public.
Oh gosh, I
Yeah,
wanna
we'll
hear
talk
from
about
every, maybe there's a 2D that we haven't even dreamed of. I mean,
Yeah.
truly, like I can't wait to hear more, to take it to the community and to have input. Because there's brilliance, I mean, that like collective brilliance of 18,000 people, yep, let's ask, you know, and let's make that happen. Because it is a community resource, and our community should have a say. They have to have a say, that's just how that works. Awesome, okay, thank you. Thank you. It was a good meeting, go back and listen, it was really good. We were very excited, so, item D is the joint annual conference discussion. I don't know if there's much more to, I know, like, sign up if you haven't. I think Sonia said we keep asking for a different hotel and we keep getting the same hotel, but it's not because she didn't try. She tried. I know you advocated for us. So as the schedules for everybody at work and educationally, academically come together, if you can make it to that the Friday days, those are really great resources. We'll be able to see Leggett and Arrow photos, and it's always kind of cool to reconnect and do those things. So maybe someday, D124 will be up on those. There you go.
Principal back there.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, there you go.
My district gives it to me as a PD.
Nice,
That's awesome.
okay,
Yeah.
yeah, that works.
Cause you feel, yeah, it's pretty much, that's what it is.
It is PD, I mean, really, like, it's professional for all of us, that's really smart. Cool, okay, thank you. The addition is item A, or excuse me, E, which is the policy manual update, which I waxed poetic in an email to Dr. Woodland. We have, I think we need a fanfare. We need a drum roll, we need choirs singing, I mean, so if you don't know, if you haven't looked on the website lately, and you know, it's under Board of Education, and I look under the Board of Education, I don't know if everybody doesn't, but I do. But there's a policy manual and it is updated. And it is so pretty. It's so beautiful. So here's what we did. So everything a Board of Education does, we do it for a reason. Our role is to govern and guide the district. And we are governed and guided by our policies. So every other month, the policy committee sits down with Dr. Woodland and reviews updates to board policy from the state in a sometimes very large press packet, very large. Our policies reflect what we as a district do in the context of those laws and policies and initiatives in the state of Illinois. So it's about curriculum, it's about special education, it's about how school districts are required to manage and report our funds, what labor law says about jury duty for our staff, what health examinations and vaccinations are required for our students and for which grade levels. We don't make that up. Our policies do, and our policies, again, are based on practice and what comes from on high that we need to incorporate as well. So all of that and so much more, really everything else comes from policy. So our policies govern our actions and our actions are attached to policy. We have our policies, they've always been up to date. They're in compliance, they are publicly available on the website. The old format did the job. All the, again, information was up to date and findable if you looked long and hard enough. It was cumbersome. So for a few years now, we have wanted to review our policies topic by topic and make sure that our actions reflect policy and our policies govern our actions. So last fall, we began the process of reviewing our policy manual, making adjustments if necessary, and approving them at public board meetings. And most excitingly, subscribing to the Press Plus platform to get the policies online, searchable, quickly updatable, based on updated laws, et cetera. So when we were setting up the meetings with Nick Bauman, the policy director for IASB, we planned to have a rotating group of 4 Board of Ed members at each special meeting, with all of us doing our substantial reading between meetings, that we would be prepared. So we were going to take turns so that no one board member was too taxed. But I will share with such appreciation that we were all at almost every meeting. So thank you. October 5th, January 23rd, February 12th, April 18th. It truly was a collaborative effort too, with input from Patricia Roberts and Eric Grossi and Tracy,
Tracy Nolan.
I almost said Tracy Gleason, which is a different wonderful person in the district, but I was like, that's not the right name. So Ashley and Dr. Hackett, when Dr. Woodland missed a meeting for obvious and understandable reasons. So it truly was a collaborative effort, and I really do appreciate all of the different input that we had, truly. Nick was very impressed by the dedication and hard work of the board. I am too. So for our stakeholders, our students, our families, our staff, administration, community members, this update means to you, for you, first of all, that your Board of Education has reviewed recently every policy.
Everyone.
Right? It was a lot of reading. And that current practices are also current policy and vice versa, right? In my words at our Board of Education meetings, I will be referencing board policy more often where appropriate. Cause darn it, if we did the work, I'm gonna be quoting those things left and right, cause that's the whole point, right? That is what we are dedicated to, making sure that those two things connect. And it's just so much more user-friendly.
Yes.
I was playing with it today and I could find things immediately. It was awesome. So it's available on our website, on the new online platform. It's legible, it's navigable, it's searchable. So thanks again to all of you and to you. And to everyone else who helped with this process. And I, in addition to going back and watching last week's meeting, I also recommend that you guys all would go and check out the new pretty policy manual that's under Board of Ed. So, awesome.
Can I just add, it's not just searchable, but like searchable by tags. So I was messing around on it and I just typed in haircut. And it brought up like 3 different policies that are relevant if you've got a question as a parent about like, can I send my kid to school with pencils in their hair or something? Very easy to just search things. You don't have to like know which section has what. They're all tagged for like relevant content. It's very accessible.
It's so much better.
It's life-changing for me.
It really is. Well,
Instead of
I go in when I get emails from parents or community members, I wanna make sure that what we're doing is attached to policy and that policy is attached to actions. So I've spent a lot of time looking and it's not been searchable, but now it is. So, yeah, it's really great. So, nice, thank you. Very specific. Okay, so we are on to our consent agenda item, or excuse me, our action items. So first up is consent agenda item A. Number 1 is to approve the monthly transaction reports for August of 2024. Number 2 is to approve the fund balance reports for August of 2024. Number 3 is to approve expenditure report and projected payroll report for September of 2024. Number 4 is to approve the board minutes from the special meeting of August 6th, 2024. Number 5 is to approve the closed session minutes from the special meeting of August 6th, 2024. Number 6 is to approve the board minutes of the regular meeting of August 14th, 2024. Number 7 is to approve the closed session minutes from the regular meeting of August 14th, 2024. Number 8 is to approve destruction of closed session tapes from May of 2020. And number 9 is to approve the personnel recommendations as listed below on your agenda. If I could have a first motion to approve the consent agenda item A.
Motion to approve consent agenda item A.
Awesome. And a second, please.
Second.
Thank you. And a roll call.
Dr. Michael Thomas,
Yes.
Michael Allmiller,
Yay.
Denise Jones, yes. Rachel Merrickwin,
Yes.
David Shepherd,
Yes.
Lauren Dowden,
Yes.
Colleen Clemzak.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Excellent. Action item B is to appoint Mrs. Kathleen Kasperwitz as interim principal at Southeast School during the FMLA that is upcoming, effective October of 2024. If I can have a first motion, please.
I'll make the motion.
Nice. And a second?
Second.
And a roll call?
Rachel Merrickwin,
Yes.
Dr. Michael Thomas.
Yes.
Lauren Dowden,
Yes.
David Shepherd,
Yes.
Denise Jones, yes. Michael Miller.
Yay.
Colleen Clemzak.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Excellent.
And just to speak to that briefly, Miss Haley Vermeer is having a baby, her third child. And we are so grateful that we have a fabulous assistant principal, Kathleen, who will be stepping in during that time. And we're gonna talk about next who's gonna do her job.
That was item C, okay, on our agenda. So item C is to appoint Ms. Brittany Vienna as assistant principal at Southeast and Southwest Schools for that FMLA effective of October 2024. If I could have a first motion, please.
Motion to approve agenda item C.
Thank you. And a second?
A second.
Thank you. And a roll call?
Dr. Michael Thomas,
Yes.
Rachel Merrickwin,
Yes.
David Shepherd,
Yes.
Lauren Dowden,
Yes.
Denise Jones, yes. Michael Miller.
Yay.
Colleen Clemzak.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Awesome. And of course, Miss Brittany is here tonight, so thank you so much for coming. In the spirit of growing your own, right? Brittany is an
Awesome.
internal employee in the district who is just wonderful. And we would like to give her this opportunity to learn and grow in this capacity while we have Miss Haley out on maternity leave, and she'll have great guidance from both Kathleen and Scott to learn and grow in a capacity for a short period of time. So thank you so much for your willingness
Yes.
to step up. We appreciate it.
Thank you. I'm sure it will be great.
Yes.
Yeah.
Everyone will be well taken care of.
Yes.
And most importantly, the little baby at home.
Exactly. I was like, we always hate to see Haley, but like, you have to, like, and there'll be a new little person, and that's awesome, and everybody gets to do good things, so. Cool. Thank you. Item D is to approve the fiscal year 25 budget as presented this evening. If I could have a first motion to approve our budget,
Motion to approve the budget.
and a second, please.
I'll second it.
Thank you, and a roll call.
Dr. Michael Thomas,
Yay.
David Shepherd,
Yes.
Lauren Dowden,
Yes.
Rachel Merrickwin,
Yes.
Denise Jones, yes. Michael Miller.
Yay.
Colleen Clemzak. Motion passed.
Great, thank you. Item E is to approve the resolution appointing Mr. Eric Grossi as trustee of schools.
I would like to make the first motion.
Thank you. And a second, thank you. Okay.
Can I third that?
And does he get a crown? Why does he get a crown?
If you go to BK, we'll get him a crown.
Something, I think. Okay, sorry.
Michael Miller,
Yay.
Denise Jones, yes. Rachel Merrickwin,
Yes.
David Shepherd,
Yes.
Lauren Dowden,
Yes.
Dr. Michael Thomas.
Yes.
Colleen Clemzak.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Excellent. Okay, and now we're moving into the items that we've discussed earlier today too. So item F is to approve the resolution declaring the intention to issue not to exceed $6,200,000 working cash fund bonds for the purpose of increasing the district's working cash fund and directing that notice of such intention be published in the manner provided by law. If I may have a first motion, please,
Motion to approve
Thank
agenda item F.
and a second.
I'll second it.
Thank you. And a roll call?
Dr. Michael Thomas,
Yes.
David Shepherd,
Yes.
Lauren Dowden,
Yes.
Rachel Merrickwin,
Yes.
Denise Jones, yes. Michael Miller,
Yay.
Colleen Clemzak.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Great, thank you. Item G, and just to clarify, we're gonna be approving a public hearing, and that will be at our next.
Meeting.
Okay, at our next meeting.
Our first, what you just approved, just so you know, is to post it in the newspaper.
It's to get our, yes, and all of this should be, not resolved, but like acted upon by, December. So, just for those of you watching. Okay, so item G is to approve the resolution calling a public hearing concerning the intent of the Board of Education to sell not to exceed $6,200,000 working cash fund bonds for the purpose of increasing the district's working cash fund. If I may have a first motion, please,
Motion. Go ahead.
I'll make the motion.
and a second?
Second.
Okay, and a roll call, please.
Rachel Merrickwin?
Yes.
Dr. Michael Thomas?
Yes.
Lauren Dowden?
Yes.
David Shepherd?
Yes.
Denise Jones, yes. Mike Wallmiller?
Yay.
Colleen Clemzak?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Excellent. And then item H is to approve the resolution of expressing official intent regarding certain capital expenditures to be reimbursed from proceeds of an obligation to be issued by the district. If I could have a first motion, please.
First.
Thank you. And a second?
I'll second.
Awesome. And a roll call, please.
Michael Allmiller?
Yay.
Denise Jones, yes. Rachel Merrickwin?
Yes.
David Shepherd?
Yes.
Lauren Dowden?
Yes.
Dr. Michael Thomas?
Yay.
Colleen Clemzak?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Excellent.
And that resolution allows us to back pay any projects.
Correct. That's
So
why
we-
December, yeah.
Yep, have the ability to start things sooner rather than later.
Okay, item 11 is we will be recessing to closed session to discuss the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees of the district or legal counsel, including hearing testimony on a complaint lodged against an employee or legal counsel to determine its validity pursuant to section 2C1 of the Open Meetings Act.
Make a motion to go to closed session?
Second.
We can do it all in
All
favor.
in favor?
Okay.
Aye.
All right. We will be returning, after closed session, we will return to open session, but we will not be taking any action, at that time. So we will not be live streaming. This was a long and meaty meeting.
Yes.
So, wow. I know, right? Sitting for 2, like,